So if we could start with your full name, please.
Elton Maynard Barber.
And where and when were you born?
Pardon?
Where and when were you born?
I was born on a farm in Buckley, Washington.
And what is your birth date?
11/25/40/22. Oh, you got.
So how old does that make you today?
Pardon?
How old does that make you today?
Today, I'm 95 plus 6 months.
You got a birthday coming up.
Yeah. Well, also, I was my birthday is right again in the 25th of November. So within seven years, I have my birthday on Thanksgiving Day every 7 years. Believe that?
I do. Do you eat extra cake on that day?
Okay.
All right. So which branch of the armed service did you serve with?
Navy,
And what years did you serve from and until?
oh, I signed in the 11th and, I got in 1941, March 11, 1941, yes. And I served my 6 years and then got released into inactive reserve for 4 years. And in the meantime, in those 4 years, we bought a house and everything, got called back in, stayed 27 months, and got discharged for good.
And what ship or ships did you serve on during World War II?
I was on the USS Chester.
For the duration of the war?
Pardon?
For the duration of the war, you were on the
Yes.
Chester?
I was on 1941 and first week of June until 1945, I think was 28th of December.
And what was your rate in the Navy?
Well, I was a first class and then I went into ship service. The ship service consisted of the ice cream parlor, Gedunk stand. Navy, that's a Navy deal, Gedunk. But I was in there, probably 2 years. No, it was part of the ship's service. Like they had the laundry, the barber shop, and a few other things they call ship's service. So then you really didn't get a regular rating. Well, after that, it's they what the Navy did. And they used that in the post office. I used to have somebody doing special work from one of the divisions, and all of a sudden they made it a rate. So the guy was taking care of the post office was from the 1st Division, and that was the division I went into when I come aboard the ship. So he came down to me while I was busy in an ice cream place if I wanted to be a mailman. I said, hey, yeah. So that's how I became a mailman on the ship.
But first, you said you were making ice cream? Or working in the ice cream parlor?
Yeah. So we would make the ice cream at nighttime. we would make the ice cream at the nighttime and put them in the middle containers. And then what we do, we make Dixie cups ice cream and store them, so the next day you had certain hours that they open up this ice cream bar. So they had a guy taking money for the deal. I think it was $10 or whatever. Try. So what happens? The lieutenant was in charge of our department. Come by, he says, "Well," says, "I'm going to have to give you guys $50 a month." What? Yeah, because the government can't take in money because it's not right to do, I guess.
So did you do a lot of taste testing working down there?
Pardon?
Did you do a lot of taste testing of that ice cream?
We did our own sampling.
So aside from working in the ice cream parlor and then working in the post office,
yeah.
Where was your battle station?
Well, my first battle station, see, I'm 5 feet 5 feet 6 inches tall, 130 pounds. That's how much I weighed when I went in. So we just, I was small. They put me down in the shell deck where all the big 8-inch shells are. So I wasn't able to move an 8-inch shell around. So they put me in what they call the powder socket. When I get the Chester, the powder pocket is just away from the gunnery room, and yeah. Okay. Now you'll see a little house like a little. That's the pocket. The room for two guys. What we did when they won the gunpowder was sent up from up a chain to us, and whenever the gun room wanted to powder for the shells. They'd open the sliding door. We'd push out 2 bags of powder, and then they would fire. But we was in that powder socket for quite a while at times.
It get pretty warm in there.
Well, I guess it didn't bother me. It's
And what type of ship is the Chester?
pardon?
What type of ship is the Chester?
It's a heavy cruiser. It's we have oh, these are 8-inch guns, and one back here.
So I'd like to rewind a little bit, and I'd like to talk about your childhood growing up. Can you tell me your parents' names? Who were they, and what did they do for a living?
Well, my father was born in England. My mother was born in Northern California in the gold mining area. Her name was Eva May. And well, she was a German descent. My father was born in England, and I don't know what time they left England and come to the United States.
And what did your father do for a living?
He was working in the coal mine for a short time. And he got married, and yeah, from what I was told, when he got married, he was 45 miles into Seattle from Buxley. So he started working in the railroad. He was a fireman who threw the coal in and kept a heat going. And there was a dispute or something, so he got canned. He went back to Buckley into the mine, and I guess he started raising the family. I'm number 10.
You're number 10.
There are 2 girls, 8 boys. So my oldest brother, when he was 17, he talked our mother into letting him join the World War Navy, not Navy, Army. So he went over to Europe, and he got hit by a shrapnel on his ankle. So that's him tied up in that tent, and the war ended, I guess.
How many of your brothers served in World War II?
1.
Just your oldest brother?
In World War I. And I had another brother who was in World War II.
So your oldest brother served in World War I?
Yeah.
Got it. And then you had another brother who served in World War II?
Yeah, he was Well, he was worked for the railroad when it got called in the construction gang. So when he got in, they sent him up to Fairbanks, Alaska. That's where he spent his time on the railroad up there.
Now, growing up, were you guys close as a family, you and your siblings?
No, because I was way down. my sister, she was almost right in between us because we had 8 boys. Always got talked about no baseball team, you know. And my sister was about in the middle of them. She was 8.5 years older than me. She lived to 103 years old. Just last year. Now, I'm right now, I'm the oldest one alive in the Barber family.
All your siblings have passed away?
Hmm?
All of your siblings have passed away?
Yeah. Yeah. We had most of us older, reached a higher age. Because my oldest brother was 96, I think, something like that.
So what were some of the things you did for fun growing up?
Things I did growing up
What did you do for fun?
for fun. Well, I was from a very poor family, and we were all through the bad time of the, and there wasn't too much to do for fun, have fun, and it was just right in the neighborhood where I lived was in a real old part of South Seattle, and we had just a dirt playground, and they had years ago they built a 3-story brick school. So we lived in Buckley on the ranch until I was 4 years old. Then we moved to Seattle because this is right in a bad time to live in. And I'm the last of our family, so I never had anybody really to follow in the family because they were all older. Well, I had to do things myself, which was crazy things that I should never have done. But and the only thing is, my birthday is in November. And the school year starts in September. So I couldn't go to school. I had to wait until I was a year old.
You had to wait another year.
Yeah, I was started at school. I think that one year the school closed. And they took it out because the area wasn't big enough. So we had to go to a mile away to the grade school.
Did you have to walk there?
Yeah. No, not like buses today. And from the grade school, I went up to junior high school, up to high school. Junior high and high all together.
Now, did you have any jobs early on? What age did you start working?
No, I never had a steady job
No?
until I signed up for the Navy.
That was your first job.
It was, actually.
Can you talk about growing up during the Great Depression and maybe some of the hardships that you guys experienced?
Well, I can't quite understand what you're talking about.
Can you talk a little bit about growing up during the Great Depression
Yeah.
and any hardships that your family may have experienced?
Oh, we were poor, real poor. We were down low, living off of whatever they had that for people never made any money for quite a while. So we were just living as we went by.
So what did you guys do to get by? What were some of the things that you had to do?
My older brothers, they'd pick up a job here or there. Nothing steady. And my oldest brother, he got into the post office up in Seattle. And then from there, he went into the fire department. And he stayed there until he made a lieutenant before he left, before he got over age. The rest of them, I had two brothers who was always in the logging business, work and logging. Another brother worked steady in the handling fish.
So everybody contributed, everybody pitched in a little bit where they could.
Whenever they could, because there was you just couldn't go and get a job. You had to actually have a little help to get you through it. Otherwise, plus, boys are boys, so they started getting married. Because a couple of them, because they had to.
Now, did you guys always have enough food to eat?
Well, our mothers seemed to put things together. So she was, 4 feet 10, I think. Just a little thing. And she had 10 children.
Now, did you graduate high school?
No, I left during the Navy. Me and school didn't get along. But it's growing up was unbelievable. Very, very dumb. So, we never had anything extra. We just, especially myself and my other sister is 4 years older than I was, but we never had an extra penny.
It's a little bit different than the way we live today, huh?
Oh, just the opposite. But I went into the service, which is the greatest thing that I did for myself and family.
Why did you decide to join the Navy?
Now that goes back to my nephew. I'm not told you, he was 17, and I was home at the time. I don't know what for, but when he came from Buckley or Enumclaw, come down to the house. So my nephew said, "Hey, come on, I go over and join the Navy. We can join together." Okay. Okay. So we went down to the recruiting office. His mother had signed for him because he was 17. So he signed up for 3 years. So here I'm 18. So I got papers to get signed when I went home. And 6 years. And, not doing anything anyway. And that's what happened.
And this was in March of 1941, you said, correct?
Pardon?
This was in March of 1941 that you signed up?
March 21, yeah, like that. Yeah.
So did you go home and tell your parents that you had signed up for the Navy?
What I did, I took papers with me. And, and so my next door neighbor, he signed it for, because here, 18 years old, I'm thinking, well, at least I'll have some place to go home to.
So how did your parents feel about you joining the Navy?
No, it's like my mother had, maybe she had just a little bit of wondering, because, she sent her oldest son over to France. So I guess they probably good for him. And so.
Had you ever been on a ship before?
Oh no. No. So I was on a little homemade sailing boat. That was it.
So where did you go for your basic training?
San Diego. When I had the papers, and stuff, I went to this other kid, I told him what I was doing, and I said, I'll sell you my bike for $5. And he had a newspaper outfit, so he gave me $5, and I had $5 in my pocket all the way to San Diego. Because the Navy paid for a couple not dinners, but eats. So, and it didn't bother me because, I was at the tail end of the family.
So what did you think of San Diego when you arrived?
Big. It's a big. But we when I went from Seattle down Portland to San Diego, to LA, and then from LA went down to the boot camp.
And do you have any memorable experiences from...
Pardon?
Do you have any memorable experiences from boot camp?
No, it's just, something different. That's something you had to do. You got to shoot up. And so that...
And did your nephew go down with you?
He was ahead of me 1 week. He was in a different company because they will have a certain amount for a company.
Yeah.
And then they start again. So I was a week behind him.
Where did he end up serving?
Well, this is the story. He was one day he was down at the gym and he was doing some boxing, and he threw his arm on his hip. So what they did, they took him up to the U.S. Navy Hospital in San Diego. And he was up there when I left on ship. So after I hear from him, he's out of the Navy. And what happened? They discharged me. So I wasn't fit until my shoulder.
So it was his idea to get in.
Yeah. And yes. Oh man.
What'd you think about that?
Well, tough luck. But it didn't do him any good, really. He turned out quite different.
So when were you assigned to the USS Chester?
Well,
did you get to choose that ship, or were you assigned?
It was the U.S. Chester was in San Diego at this time. And I was in the after boot camp. I graduated. Well, they kept in San Diego until they put out somebody said, I need swimming or whatever. So while the ship is there, they got any allotment of so many guys, and I was one of them. Well, being my last name is Barber, or B, I was assigned to the 1st Division. So we had 3 deck divisions. And,
You know how many men were on board the Chester?
I think there's about 600 and something, I think, when I went aboard.
And when did you guys initially set sail?
Well, I guess we were the ship was there for about a week or 5 days. Then we left San Diego. We went up to San Francisco. And we were there, possibly 3 days. Then we took off all the way to Honolulu. So that's when I got to see Diamond Head.
And what did you think of Hawaii?
Oh, it was great, real good. And nice weather, and we always wore whites, if we lost at the ship. But every so often the ship would go out on maneuvers. But being in the 1st Division, we had 2 40-foot motor launches on the ship. So the 1st Division had number 1. So eventually, my job was the boat hook on number 1, up on the bow of the boat hook. And I was considered part of that crew until we had torpedoed. So I was actually one of the crew members. So.
Now, you told me earlier that you guys were in the South Pacific before the war had actually started.
Yeah, before the war started, we oh, Christ. I'm trying to work with it here. We went to the island. It's probably I don't know how many miles they were from Japan. But I just a couple of days ago, I went through the whole thing on TV. We took the aircraft carrier and 3 cruisers and destroyers. We went down to the island and left 12 Marine fighter pilots and planes at the time. By the time we were there and got back, we'd traveled pretty close to 4,000 miles. That's just before when the war broke out. we were just days away from Pearl Harbor.
So you guys were on your way back.
And we were supposed to be in Pearl Harbor the 7th of December. But being that we got caught into a real heavy storm, when the aircraft carrier slowed down because they had the top guy on the whole thing. that we slowed down enough to keep us from going into the base. That night, we got on the PA system, Jeps bombing Pearl Harbor. Here we are, sitting one day away from.
And what'd you think about when you heard that?
Well, it kind of. No, it really made everybody stop. So we went into port the next day, and it's still smoking.
So you guys arrived in Hawaii the day after.
And the next day, yeah.
Can you talk about what you saw?
What it was, we took on supplies. The next day, we went back out looking, see if we could find somebody.
So when you arrived in port back in Hawaii, what were some of the things that you saw? The attack had just happened the day prior.
Well, I don't know, but there was still black smoke and everything, and when we went in the next day.
Did you get off ship?
Pardon?
Did you get off ship when you guys arrived, or were you stayed aboard?
We just picked up stores, and whatever fuel, and went back out. I got a picture of my buddy from back home. It's on the wall, and he was in service 2 years before I went in. So we got together in the peacetime, and we'd go to watch football games and stuff like that. He's on a battleship that they had to put her on the beach to keep the channel open. So, but before that, we've 2 or 3 times he would come over to our ship and had dinner, and I'd go to there and have a dinner and just get together. Then we'd go and watch the high school football. And then, yeah.
So after you guys left Hawaii again, after Pearl Harbor was attacked, where did you guys go?
Well, we was just more or less close by, not way far away. But on February the 2nd, we was went with a group of other ships we went and bombarded some Japanese islands. And that's when we got hit by aerial bomb.
Do you remember which islands you were bombing?
No, it's just you. I have a full report of our ship from the time it was commissioned until we decommissioned. It should be over there, which would be very, very interesting for you.
Was the Marshall Islands. Did you want to look at this?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is supposed to be a ship's log.
Yeah, that's what it says here. February 1st, first bombardment of Marshall Island.
Yeah, see, and that's it's from the time it was commissioned until they decommissioned it.
So tell me what you remember about that day.
Well, I was in my I was in
You
my
want to move this
station,
picture here? There you go.
and we were bombarding, and then they must they must have 500 spent shells on our main deck from our anti-aircraft guns.
So, were there Japanese fighter planes flying around?
Yeah, they were. What we got in the way that our lookouts were watching the island, and all of a sudden the airplanes started off the island. Jet planes. So the way somebody said, "Oh, there's Japs planes are taking off," and somebody said, "Well, count them." And there's dozens of them. So our aircraft guns kept them away. And they were, I forgot, they must have been pretty damn high. So, and we got one of the bombs hit us on the well duct, and what I remember, there was a jolt, and we didn't know it was a bomb till 12 members, and blue. Not, that was it was a pretty good sized bomb, but we got hit by a glancing, not right as it hitting. You know.
How close were you to where the bomb?
Well, I was in my powder pocket.
So can you show me on that picture right there
Oh,
where you were and then where the bomb had hit?
okay. No, see, up here's a little, what we call a powder pocket. It's just enough for two small guys to get in it.
And where did the bomb hit the ship?
Oh, okay. Right here.
Just off the side.
Yeah. It got hit on the port side.
And did anybody get hurt or killed?
No, not our group. There was people like they had so many pockets of this and that. So what really hit their aircraft for our killing planes was right there at the time, right where the bomb hit. And I said the chief in charge of that group just took this and there were 12 in the area for shrapnel. So, but we got I don't know if we got on our little paper of the game. I don't know if I have it here or not.
So that was your first experience of any action during the war, correct?
That would be our first,
So how did that change things for you? How did your mentality change at that point?
Well, then we didn't know that we got hit, but because it was more like a glancing hill.
But a few men had been injured, you said, and a few men had been killed, or no?
And we lost 12 casualties.
So you had found out later on that that had happened.
Yeah. Well, what we after the got away from the island, and they put the ship back into regular deal. It's almost right in the middle of the ship.
So did your thoughts on the war change at all at that point?
Oh, we knew we were at war. We knew what it was. That's the first that we have anything. But Oh, that's all right.
All right.
Yeah, get the.
You're all right.
Yeah.
So did you guys have a burial at sea for those crew members?
No. After we got pulled back, went back to the port. Knew we had it.
Did you know any of the guys who had been killed?
Yeah, didn't. And they're in Hawaii, Honolulu, Navy. I don't know if it was a burial. What it was, yeah. We took so many. But it really didn't make any real bad thoughts, because it was like something. Right now, I see it, and then later on, it just floats away. But actually, it'll stay in your mind. So, because and we left there. I know. I think we went someplace to get some repair work done. But after that, and it went all the way down in the bottom of the Pacific.
So it says here in May, on the 10th of May, you guys were involved in the Battle of the Coral Sea. Do you remember that event?
Oh, truthfully, it's been so long away. And the Battle of Coral Sea, it was an aircraft carrier was sunk by the Japanese, and our artillery downed the Japanese submarine aircraft. We got credit for shooting down the aircraft.
Was that your gun? Was that the gun that you were working on?
No. Those are 5-inch guns.
Not the 8-inch. The 8-inch were used for shelling the islands?
Yeah, long.
Long range?
Yeah, we could shoot them up something in this area about 27 miles, I think.
And you said one of the carriers had been sunk. At the Battle of the Coral Sea?
Yeah. And
Did you guys help collect any of the survivors?
yeah, what happened? Survivors from the aircraft carrier was picked up by other ships, destroyers, and brought them over to our ship. And guess what happened? The guys, my buddies on the ship, get this guy. Says this guy's name was Barber. brought him over and I talked to him. He was from New York, the same name.
You met another barber.
Yeah. So in a little while, they took all the survivors onto another ship.
Do you remember which ship they were on? Which ship that had sunk? Do you remember the name of the ship that had sunk that they were on?
An aircraft carrier.
Was it the Lexington?
That could be, yeah.
And do you remember how many men?
Huh?
Do you remember how many men came aboard?
No, I didn't.
And do you know where you guys went after that?
Like I say, I really can't say yes because I think, oh God.
It says Funafuti here.
What was that?
In early of October, you were at Funafuti. Does that sound familiar?
We took them, the survivors, and the ships. We took the Ponga Creek. We took them to an island that was a safe area. Bora Bora? I really don't know.
Okay.
I can see it right now.
It's all right.
What we did, we went to the island and so.
This is the commander's report.
Bora Bora, I think, was the name of the island.
So this says that your ship was also hit by a torpedo.
Pardon?
It says your ship was also hit by a torpedo.
Yeah, we did.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk about that day and what was going on and where you were?
Well, we were. Let's say this. We had the battleship Washington was in the middle of the area, and we had 4 heavy cruisers circling it, plus destroyers. And what we was doing, we were patrolling a certain area, because they had another group doing the same thing. But what we were down with the islands are close pretty close. 'Cause that's when we got torpedoed. But we are actually in a part two time of readiness. We used to switch like starboard or port would be on alert, they call it. So all of a sudden I'm in a pocket deal, and boy, I felt like somebody reaching and grabbed me and slammed me against the wall. That's how I found out we got torpedoed.
Do you know where that torpedo came from?
Huh?
Do you know where it came from? Did it come from a plane or
No, a Japanese sub.
submarine?
Yeah. And I think they were really aiming at the battleship Washington. But we were all switched. So it hit, on the starboard side, up the side. And it hit up around here. It would be going that way.
Did it do pretty heavy damage?
Pardon?
Did it do pretty heavy damage to the ship?
Damage?
Yes.
Damn near sunk us. They had the work crew worked all night long to patch up what they could. Had a bucket brigade all night long, and by day, probably early morning, maybe 8 or 9 o'clock, they finally stopped the water seeping in, and then then from there we went back to the anchorage where we was before.
Did you participate in any of those activities?
I didn't do any. Was a short time on the bucket brigade.
And do you know how many men were killed from that torpedo strike?
There were 12, I think they said.
And did you guys then go for repairs?
What was this?
Did you guys then go for repairs to the ship since it had been damaged?
Yeah, well,
Where did you go after the torpedo strike?
after we got hit, we went back, got enough power to bring the ship back to the anchorage area. The ship, and while we were there, the crew did a little bit more, get blocking it up and everything. So they got it good enough to move the ship at a slow rate of speed. And we left them there, went to Sydney, Australia. We do maybe 10 knots, like more like it was a sitting duck, but we had a destroyer escorting us. So we got into Sydney on November 2nd. Well, we were in Sydney for November and December. Christmas morning, up comes the anchor. And when we take off, we head for the oh boy. Oh, you know, it is hard for me to come up with names. Panama, Canal.
This is when you were headed back to Virginia.
Was there a map of the Pacific on it?
Oh, I didn't see it.
It might be on a disc. Yeah, but we went all over. What we did, we went to first we went to an island and got fuel. Picked up some groceries, I guess. And then from there we went to the Panama.
Now, when you guys were struck by the torpedo, were you concerned or worried that your ship would sink?
Oh yeah, you never know if you're gonna make it or not.
Do you remember what thoughts were going through your head?
The thought is to save the ship.
And did you think about those guys that lost their life that day?
Yeah, they were all engineer guys. But this one kid, young guy, he would always come up from the fire room and take a break, and he'd lean on the edge of the ship and like take it out, taking in the night air and stuff. And after I get out of my place, I go up under the first anchor, underneath here. Here he is, dead. Boom. So we took him in a stretcher, took him down to the refrigerator. So kept him down there until I got back to base. But that's the only person I really knew Just,
And how do you process that type of loss?
you know, just bad luck. He was doing nothing. Explosion. Oh man.
So when you guys arrived in Australia, did you spend much time there?
2 months.
2 months. And what did you do during that 2 months?
Oh, being that I was a skipper or captain of a motor launch, and the repair ship asked our ship if they could get somebody to help out their boats that they loaned us. So I was in charge. So I got away with all the dirty work. And I got acquainted with a very nice lady, and my thoughts were away from any sexual contact, because I was happy to be alive and have somebody to talk to. Instead of going to talking some bar or somebody there. But I had a real, it relieved all my thoughts toward me. That's crazy.
And what was that lady's name?
I wish, and I did not take her name, address, or anything. Well, I know the name, if that was a state in the USA, I would have asked her to marry. She was wonderful. I didn't have any thoughts of molesting her. And
These are the pictures of her. That's the Australian companion.
Is that a picture of her?
yep,
The two of you guys?
there's another more.
You want to take a look at those?
Hey. Oh, this is where we had printed. But there's, yeah,
You said it was good just to have somebody to talk to.
it was.
Do you remember what you guys talked about?
Oh, I talked about home. And then one evening, she took me with her to visit one of her relations. But it's, I was really glad to be alive. That's the way it was. course, we cuddled up and everything, and she had to go to work the next day. She had to get her rest. So I know my buddies and that they would didn't say one word. So it's just to have something to talk to. That's what it was.
Did you miss home at that point?
Pardon?
Did you miss home? Did you miss being home at that point? Were you homesick at all?
No, not really. It just, yeah, I know where in the hell I was when the other in the world. You know, I had a map of the Pacific Ocean. Because, like I tell you, I went from way down in the southern part up through the middle, all the way up to Alaska, and from Alaska into on the northern parts of China, Japan. Oh, not once, twice.
So how long did you hang out with that lady that you met in Australia? Was it just 1 day, 2 days, or was it the whole 2 months that you guys were there?
I met her the first time we got off ship, and I kept acquainted with her until Christmas Day when we left.
Was it difficult to say goodbye to her?
Yeah, in a way, but it's probably might have been worse on her because she was having a very pleasant time and being respected. So, you know, I never had a feeling like that before. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's what happened.
And you never spoke to her again after that?
No, I didn't. I didn't get her address or anything because I actually knew what it was all about, and that was it.
Did you ever return to Australia?
Return thoughts?
Had you returned to Australia
Oh no.
after that time? Or was that the last time you were ever there?
Only thing is, I find out that my dad had some of his relations in Australia, but I didn't try to find out. But hell, they had the bigger part of the men in over in
Washington?
oh. I can't think of. They were fighting for the British in Egypt. I don't know.
Okay. So after you guys had left Australia, you sailed through the Panama Canal and went to Virginia. And you guys received repairs on the ship there?
I went at the Navy shipyard.
Okay, so how long did you spend in
Portsmouth.
Virginia?
Huh?
How long did you spend in Virginia?
Well, we got in there in January, I think. We left in middle of September.
You were there for about 9 months, 8 months, 9 months?
Uh,
And what were you doing while your time there?
oh, I was in charge of our motor launch. But see, I still had a position.
Did it feel good to be back in the U.S.?
Oh yeah, we would get the complete weekend off. And we would go. We went up to New York twice, Philadelphia, Washington D.C. We used to see the world. Oh, and my buddy, one was on the Arkansas, on whatever it was. He found out that he got transferred. He was up in Adak, Alaska, for a couple of years before we got there. And then I took my leave, and in Virginia, went all the way, went out to Chicago, and then from Chicago to Seattle. And I get home, and who do I run in against? My buddy.
How was it seeing him again?
So what happens? I turned out to be his man at his wedding. Crazy. Honest to God.
Happy coincidence.
Yep. But that's part of life.
And then you had to be shipped out again.
Yeah, when I'm back to the ship, and wait until we got all repaired. We went out in the Pacific there and had the battery, doing testing our guns and having a week of guns.
Making sure everything's working again?
Yeah. Then we went back to the canal. Went up to San Francisco. The buddy was in the group that I had. He was from Tacoma, Washington, from Seattle, so we got together. So as we get into San Francisco, his brother-in-law owns a beer joint in San Francisco. South San Francisco. Oh. So through that, his brother-in-law sister worked for an outfit in downtown in Seattle. And so naturally we started getting to the bar in the evening, you know. So this girl says, oh, she has a girl she works with. You'd like to go see her or whatever. So, okay, well, between her and the girl at work, and they made a date. So, says she'll be down to the USO club there. She'll have a red outfit on. So, okay, I'll go see what kind of a girl she is. So I go down to the USO there. So go inside. I said, oh my God, there's 50 girls with red suits. So I'm out in the telephone booth outside, and she had just talked to the gal, and the girl told her, oh, I just talked to him. So I step out of the phone booth and I'd see a couple of women, about 30 feet away or so, up on top of the little ramp. And all of a sudden, this one girl says, oh, no. All of a sudden, this one girl said, that's Barb. Because our the gun and the turret at work, we all got a white E for efficiency. And says, he's got an E on. Oh. And her older sister said, don't you wish? So that's how we got acquainted.
And what was her name?
Her sister? Oh, her name.
The lady you were there to meet.
She, what is it? Jacqueline. Jacqueline. Yep. So it's all getting pretty close to finishing off. Had a great time. We bought 2 homes.
Did you end up marrying Jacqueline?
This was about 42, yeah, and 42. So in between, once in a while the ship would go to San Francisco sometime, very rarely. So we stayed in touch till I got married.
So you guys hit it off that first night? You guys connected that first night that you guys met?
Well, I would say we got connected, but it wasn't something to draw like that. It's just a girl that I wrote to. It got it. I don't know if my granddaughter would go and get the box of letters. I don't know if she would bring my hat in too.
You would write back and forth after you got shipped out again?
Yeah, we did.
Was it nice to have somebody
We
to talk
got
to?
married April 22nd, 1945.
So this was about 2 years after you guys had met?
Yeah. So, you know how often I would have been to San Francisco, but
Not very often.
no. But it just, it clicked. I wonder if Jenna could find it where it says.
So after you guys met that first time, you had to ship out again.
Oh,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah. So where did you guys go? Did you go back to the South Pacific?
Yeah, I went to the South Pacific.
And what other operations did you guys take part in?
Oh, we are credited. There you go.
Those are all the letters you wrote back and forth?
Didn't cost us any money, but we had free mail.
It's quite a few.
After all this years, we were still together. Now it's death to do us part. This is my actual first one I got. So it's quite a life.
Pretty proud to receive that? So were you pretty proud to receive that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm Navy. I'm a Navy. That's it. On the refrigerator door is shot. Oh boy. What did it say? 214 on it?
2014. Uh-huh. Yes.
Oh God.
You want to try it on again?
We had a wonderful life.
So I was asking you, what other operations did you guys take part in?
Well, we got 11 combinations that we were in. And we were in some stuff actually by ourselves. One that we bombarded the Coral Islands. It was At the time, they had a real corrugated what the hell, distances and how they come together, but not locally, but way on the ocean. So that navigated from that to complete fog. And at times we could hear the damn Japanese airplane looking for us above us.
But the fog was too dense to see.
So we did that 2 times.
Did you experience any rough seas or bad storms out there?
And then just before the war, when the war was almost over, we were down there in South Pacific with all the groups where they had the Japs, the big island before Japan.
Okinawa?
Yeah. We were in the bottom of them, and they had a slip there called Buckner Bay. And we left from there, went all the way up to Adak, Alaska. When we got into Adak, we found out the war's ended. And from there, we went all the way to the tip of Alaska, Kiska, I think they call it. Then we went into northern Japan for, oh gosh, I know what it is. We were there for occupation duty.
Yep. So how did it make you feel when you heard the war was over?
Yeah, it's kind of, well, it kind of took the relief, you know. It made things feel different. So we got there and stayed for, I think, a month. We were overseeing the upper area on the war. And then we left there, and I think it was Guam, and picked up troops. And we would travel all the way to San Francisco. So that was in November. We left there. When we went back out to, I forgot what island, picked up another load of homeward bound servicemen.
You were bringing troops back home.
And we got back to San Francisco. And what they did, they stripped the ship of extra personnel and sent it to a receiving area. Oh. Oh, you can't sleep here today.
Now I'm just going to read through this list of operations that you were involved with, because you guys participated in a lot of bombardments of different islands and territories. So I'm just going to read through them real quick so we have it on tape. So starting in November of 43. You guys took part in the bombardment of the Tarawa Atoll and the Gilbert Islands, Taroa Island and the Marshall Islands, the bombardment of Matsuwa Island, bombardment of Karabu Zaki and Paramushiru Island, the bombardment of Wake Island, bombardment of Marcus Island, you're involved in the Second Battle of the Philippine Sea. You participated in night bombardment of Iwo Jima Island.
Yeah, we put the day we went on to the island. It seemed Iwo Jima.
Yeah, you guys. It says you targeted installations and airfields. Also bombarded Chichijima, Hahajima. It looks like you guys bombarded Iwo Jima a number of times.
Yeah.
And then
they could have picked us off like a whatever, because they didn't want their guns to be known.
They're trying to conceal them.
Uh,
Yeah, so it looks like the last time you bombed Iwo Jima was covering the invading forces in February of 45. So you guys saw an awful lot of action in the South Pacific.
yeah, we did.
Did you guys have any other close calls other than that bomb and the torpedo that had struck your ship?
I really can't say. But, see, we were issued a ship's log for the alternate, just to certain personnel that was on the ship for a good part of the war. So, you know, I was before and after. There should be a printout of the ammunition that we fired.
I gave that to. They also dropped off the guys that were in
Is
the
that it
Tonga
there?
March.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they shipped them over there.
So that was before the war.
Hey,
We can't
So
go
that was
that way,
probably
buddy.
in,
No.
Bataan.
yeah.
That's where he was mentioning they went earlier in the Philippines.
Right, yeah.
Got it.
No,
So that was the Army personnel that was transported.
no, yeah.
And you guys received 11 battle stars
Right.
during World War II. It says here at the Battle of Coral Sea, you guys shot down 6 enemy planes. At Iwo Jima, you shot down 1 enemy plane.
There's, I believe it's called criticalpass.com. There's videos of them
Yeah,
launching
there was
float
a
planes and catching the float planes, and then one of the planes videoing all the ships that are in the water coming back onto the Chester.
we had a total of shells to fire. How many we during the war?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. It says for the Iwo Jima invasion, it looks like he had 1,200 just from the 8-inch guns. It's a lot of firepower.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else that you guys think is relevant or that we didn't talk about?
No, I think it's, he was, from the Chester, he went onto the Prairie, so I was just wondering, and then, I remember him, cause I was born in 48, and he
Oh,
was
it's-
called up
Oh,
for the Korean War, and I remember him,
In uniform.
in uniform, yeah, because he was at the Long Beach,
He was stationed on Terminal Island in the mailroom.
right. And I remember going there as a little kid to the,
He was-
doctors and
yeah.
to the commissary.
He was in charge of communications
Yeah, cause he was.
from the mainland to
Yeah, so
guys
that,
in Korea.
but,
Anything else, Bebop?
was it during peacetime, well, before the war, our ship is escorted 2 transports with the Army personnel to the Philippine Islands. Yeah,
Is that to Bataan and Corregidor?
they were caught in that
The death march, yeah, that was.
in their height there. But there's something else. When when I got called back in the second time, I was stationed in San Diego, but I was into a higher class in the Navy, because we used to issue ships log and stuff like that, and all different deals. I'm trying to get the. It was department. It's pretty close. It wasn't top secret. It was just secret of communication. So it turned out the lieutenant commander was in charge of the office or the department. So I went in one day and they told me this. So you guys, he was on the USS Augusta. That was their area, Asiatic area. They were in charge of that. So I said, I know your ship was pulled into port while we were there. The dispensing personnel. Yes, we came over and went on board the ship and looked over to how you had a situation of electronics. When I told him I was on the chest there, and he said, yeah, because we went over, came aboard the ship. That's just mind-boggling.
Small world.
It's a good thing, because what's happened they send some of the personnel up to Long Beach, California, Navy Yard. And we opened the office up there. And I was there until I got out.
Long Beach.
It's, oh, it's
My last question for you is if you have any advice that you could offer to my generation or future generations, what would that be?
I didn't quite catch it.
If you had any advice or wisdom that you could offer to my generation or future generations, what would that be?
Oh boy.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
Give them hell.
You got me speechless.
People, what advice would you give Caitlin
Yeah.
and Connor?
You know, because, you know, how many generations I actually went through. And, because when I was born, it was, rough, really, really rough. And I think then you had to know somebody inside a lot of this special, you know, jobs, what have you. Because after, it was, you know, it was very, very hard to get a steady job. And you really couldn't just go and put your name in and got a job. No way. You had to prove to the person, and also you more than likely you would ask a good friend or a buddy to help you get a job.
So building relationships is important.
Yeah, because you know, you just couldn't walk into some place and, you know, and say, I want to go to work. They didn't know who the hell you were. You had to prove yourself.
That's right. Well, I want to thank you very much for your
Yeah.
time and your service.
Well, you got me to jabber, which I don't really do.